Take 3. 4, maybe. I don't know. Hello and welcome to Mic Drop Podcast, brought to you by Music News Blitz. I'm Amelie.
I'm Maddie.
And today we will be discussing Taylor Swift versus Ariana Grande's vocals, both performed in the studio and live. Right, so, who wants to go first?
You go first.
So we've brought together 4 different songs and also some live performances, but we're going to start with the studio songs first. My first song that I have is Touch It, that's from the Dangerous Woman album, and it shows off her vocal range, which includes whistle harmonies at the end. It also shows her low notes at the beginning of the song, and she also has a lot of vocal layering within the song, which just blends well with her voice. And I just think it's just an insane song. Like, her voice is just very much shown, like her range of tone is shown throughout that whole song. And she has performed it live as well at the Dangerous Woman tour, which again was utterly insane. Like, it was mental. I just think it's crazy. That's all I have to say about it. It's just crazy.
Was she as good in like live as she was in studio with it?
I think she was better live. I actually do.
You think it's because she has more of a freedom, like when she's
the thing is with Ariana is she likes to add to like her, like she likes to add riffs when she's live and more range and stuff, and like some of the like high notes are longer or different. So every time she did perform it, they are all a bit different, but they all sound the same, and they sound as good, in fact, better than the recorded version, in my opinion. And yeah, I just think it's one of the most insane vocally sung songs in the world, and I'm not gonna lie, I'd like to see Taylor Swift try singing that.
Well, I think probably the best competition in Taylor's songs is probably, she has a song called Don't Blame Me from Reputation. And I think this is, again, one song that shows like the range that she has in her songs. So like she has a low range, it's very like dark, like sultry kind of tones to like match the energy of the song. And then it goes almost church-like for a section.
What? Church-like?
Like, do you know, like with the kind of thing. If you haven't listened to the song, you won't understand.
No, I have listened to the song.
Like the bridge bit, like, and then she goes into an insane high note, which again she does even better in real life. She did this song on the Reputation Stadium tour, and then I think she did it on the Eras tour as well. And on the Eras tour, it was just insane. And I think it's even more impressive for her to do it on the Eras tour, which was a 3 hours long show. And to have it like, I think it was somewhere in the middle. I think it's insane when you've still got like that much after and that much before.
It is impressive, but the thing with Taylor is her high notes are more like projecting and belting than they are of like Ariana's that are just pure high notes. Like a lot of Ariana's are belting and projecting, but there is so much more in that. And I think with just Taylor, she is more just projecting and belting, which is still good.
I do think though that they are completely different in the terms of music that they release. I feel like with Ariana, it makes more sense for her to have high notes in her songs. But I feel like if you are listening to a Taylor Swift song where the lyricism is like more like poetry rather than a song, I think it would be random just to have her like going in the background. I think Taylor is very good at picking the right songs for the right kind of notes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, kind of. I still just don't think she's as good as Ariana personally. She can sing, don't get me wrong, she can sing, but just not as good.
I don't know. I think Taylor relies more to show her vocal ability live. Like I said, I don't think it. But with Ariana, you listen to her songs and she is doing these high notes. With Taylor, you could go see her and she adds them in. Like I think it's one of those things where she has like a thing in her mind of how the song is going to sound, and it's always more focusing on the lyrics rather than the vocals.
Yeah, but the thing is with Ariana, she has been like named the vocalist of our generation, and she is up there with Mariah Carey, who was the vocalist of the last generation. So the fact that she's got that title over Taylor just kind of proves my point of she's better.
But then again, Ariana hasn't been named like songwriter of the generation.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that, Maddie.
Yeah, but either way, you've still got to kind of give and take a bit. I think, like I said, with Taylor, it wouldn't match her songs. And also, I think you expect it more from Ariana, who is Broadway trained.
Speaking of Broadway, shall we talk about Wicked real quick?
I haven't seen it, but go ahead.
Anyway, she sung the entire film live, like in operatic notes. Like at the end of No One Mourns the Wicked, she hits like the only note that anyone on Broadway's ever hit was Kristen Chenoweth, who played the original Glinda, and that's the only Glinda that's ever done that note up until Ariana. So the fact that she can hit that note over all the other Broadway singers just kind of shows that she is very vocally trained well. And the fact that she does it really healthily as well also shows that, you know, even though, yes, she has had vocal training for Wicked, it just shows that she is just so good at what she does, which is obviously implemented into her songs as well that aren't, like, even before Wicked, you could just tell she was good at belting and, like, high notes and whistle notes. Like, in My Hair that's on the list, she sings an entire chorus at the end of the song in pure whistle notes, like, the entire time. And you can hear, like, every single word she says, which just shows, again, that she's so... And it also had, like, this really nice, raspy, healthy tone to it, which just made it even more special and better than the original studio recording. I don't know. I just think Wicked is a big, like...
Did all the cast sing it live, or was it just, like, Ariana, or did, like, do you know, like, when Jonathan Bailey was singing, did he do it live as well?
I believe Cynthia and Jonathan Bailey also sung it live, Cynthia Erivo. I know Cynthia Erivo did do it live with Ariana. I'm not sure about anybody else, though, because I don't think they've confirmed that they did, but why would the two main people do it live and nobody else? So I do think that they've also done it live, but don't quote me on that because I've no idea.
I actually think that's a really interesting way to actually, like, perform it. I think it probably makes it seem more natural on screen. Even
well, they did it with The Greatest Showman.
Did they?
Yeah, they did it with The Greatest Showman, because if you listen to the studio version of The Greatest Showman, it sounds different to the film version.
Was there someone involved in Wicked that was involved in Greatest Showman, like a producer or something? Because I feel like I've seen something like that. I could be absolutely making this up, but...
I don't think so. I think I would have known, because, like, I love The Greatest Showman, so...
Really overrated. I don't really watch musicals. My favourite musical is Hairspray.
Oh, same. I've got 3. The Greatest Showman, Wicked, and Hairspray.
Hairspray and Mamma Mia. That's probably it. Anyways.
Anyway, we're off topic. What is going on? Shall I just talk about My Hair, or have we already done that?
You can do My Hair if you want. And then I'll just...
I mean, I've already kind of talked about My Hair, so...
Well, I'll talk about My Tears Ricochet then, which is from Folklore. This is just... She sings very, very low in this song. Like, if you tried to sing like that, you couldn't. You'd be like... You'd sound like you were growling. And I think the way that... Like you said with Ariana, with the whistle notes, and the, like, very... with the... Sorry, I can't after that message.
What has he said?
You're going to offend producer Matt with this musical slander.
That's what I mean. She's not nice, is she? Saying you don't like The Greatest Showman.
You didn't like the layout of the last design.
But I also helped with that, so, you know, I'm allowed to slag it off.
Anyways, you've distracted me from My Tears Ricochet. I'm not going to like many musicals. That's just the bottom line of it. Anyways, so it's a very deep song in the terms of her vocals. My Tears Ricochet, like, she's very, very well pronounced in all of the songs.
Yeah.
All of the songs, all of the, like, lyrics, and it's just like how Ariana was with the high notes or whistle tones or whatever. it's very much the same in that, and I think actually it's very impressive as well to be able to go that deep.
Mm.
I struggle to find many artists who can, if that makes sense. I think I think it is very much, I think going high gets a very, like, big, like, "Oh my god, she can go high, she's amazing," sort of thing. But I think going, like, as deep as she goes in this song, I think that should probably get a bit more recognition because I think it's probably just as hard
Mm.
in terms of making sure that you're not, like, stumbling your words, you're not, like, sounding like you can't be heard what you're saying, if that makes sense. I know what I mean.
Yeah, it makes sense. And it leads nicely into my third song that I have on the list, which is REM from Sweetener. That is more, there are deeper, lower notes that she sings in other albums and other songs, but this one more showcases her lower octave, I think. It just has a lower range to her normal songs, which are usually quite high, like sung in a high note. And like it blends, like her voice, just you can understand what she's saying, and even live she does it so low sometimes, and you're a bit like, how does one get their voice that deep and sound so good?
I do think, though, that personally, in My Teeth Ricochet, she does go deeper than Ariana in that song.
She probably does,
And I think it's I just think, like, not to steal your point, but I think when you actually listen to it, you'll be a bit, I don't know if you have listened to that song, but I think you'd be a bit like, how is she going that deep?
yeah, I think Ariana is obviously very Broadway trained and always has been. She started on Broadway when she was 13. And I think even though, like, this proves my point, even though she is Broadway like trained, she can still hit those low notes, which is very, you don't really hear of low notes much in musicals or like on Broadway. And if they are, then they're belted and projected out. But she doesn't belt or project in REM that much. There are some harmonies in the back that are obviously higher than what she sings, but she doesn't really belt or like project like she usually does in her other songs, and there's like no whistle notes, and it really just shows off her lower range. And I think it is still, her voice still sounds just as good as it does when it is high, which just proves that, you know, she is again the vocalist of our generation, because she can hit low notes, she can hit high notes, she can hit whistle tones, she can do operatic, she can do literally anything you could give to her and she would just do it. And like I think it was during the Dangerous Woman tour when she was singing Into You, the first verse where it's like, I'm so into you I can barely breathe, she went really really deep in like one of the words, and she even shocked herself, and then she just went, whoa, that's cool anyway. Which I just find funny that she shocks herself even though she knows that like she can do so much more than a low note.
I think I found out today that it actually kind of shocked me that Taylor is a natural soprano, which I found quite shocking. And I found that out, and I was like, if she can still go as deep as she goes in a lot of her songs, and she's a natural soprano, I wonder what she's keeping from us.
Yeah, that is quite insane actually. But like you said, her songs aren't written for high notes.
Which
And whose fault is that? Taylor's fault.
I don't think that you ever listen to a Taylor Swift song and thinks, you know what, she needed to hit a high note there. I think it very much matches her sound. But like when you go see her live, she can change it up.
Yeah.
However, I do have an example of her where she sings as a soprano the whole song, which is Labyrinth. She is so high in that song. Like, it is unlike any other Taylor Swift song. When Midnights came out and I heard Labyrinth, I was like,
is this Taylor?
Taylor, because what's going on? It's insane. And I mean, like, she sings in high all the time and then proceeds to go higher at certain points of the song, but then drop back. Which I think is just incredible that she's got that amount of vocal control. Because if I tried to, well, if I'm not obviously a trained singer, but if I tried to sing it, I'd be like, I think it's actually I think it's insane that she has kept this that long from us, and it's making me think, what else can she actually do that we're not knowing?
Yeah, I think Ariana more shows off her vocal control now that she's had training for Wicked in her new album, Eternal Sunshine, and that leads again. You've set it up really nicely for me. That leads into Hampstead, the song that came out for the deluxe this year, Eternal Sunshine, Brighter Days Ahead. And she kind of goes like she starts off deep, and then she goes high, and then goes back to deep. Now, we've not heard her perform it live yet, unfortunately, but I can imagine that she'd be able to have, like, she does have good vocal control as Ariana. Like, it's insane. She can hit, like, E's in, like, a high note. Like, she can say E in a high note and, like, hold it. And, like, not a lot of singers apparently can do that, according to this vocal coach that I watch on YouTube. No, he said, he was like, oh my God, she can actually hit the E in a high note. Not a lot of people can actually do that. Which again shows her vocal control. And it also, Hampstead has like loads of low harmonies, like above, like within the high notes. So it kind of all just blends well, and it shows off her vocal range. And the song is such like it sounds so like painful in her voice to sing. Like she sounds like she's in pain, like not pain as in like ow pain, as in emotional pain. And
I just have this image of someone standing on a toe the whole performance.
No, I meant emotional pain, I promise. But because it's so like emotionally painful like to listen to, and I think I Wish I Hated You from Eternal Sunshine is like, which is a different song, is also the same. Like there's so much pain in her voice, and to say that she can still control and, you know, hit the high notes, hit the low notes, you know, maybe do a whistle. I don't know, there's no whistles in these two songs that I'm thinking of, but the fact that she can still do that just shows again the vocal range that she has and the control that she has over her voice, which is just mental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, I think with it's completely, you are comparing like two completely different artists in multiple respects, and I think like I say, it's you're not going to find a whistle tone in any of Taylor Swift's songs because it doesn't really match her, like it doesn't match her songs. And I think you can have a lot of respect for another artist and how they sing while also preferring someone else. I think that's the main thing we need to learn here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna hold my hands up and say Taylor is a very good singer, but I do prefer Ariana because I know Taylor's got range, but I feel like Ariana has a lot more range, and especially within her discography.
But I do think that probably does partially come from the Broadway training. I do think that's a large part of it. And if that was always something that she wanted to do, then that's always something she wanted to do. I think with Taylor was very much focused on singing and writing songs. Taylor wanted mainly to write songs. It was never 100. Well, she always wanted to sing them, but it was more about the writing of the songs. I think is probably very evident in a lot of her writing.
Yeah, well, Ariana, yes, she started on Broadway, but then she did turn to music. And I think her music is more to show off her vocals. Don't get me wrong, the songwriting is great. Like I love, like there's so much hidden meaning behind all of her songs, I think. But her songs are more there to show off her vocal range, which they do.
I do think that's very evident in like when they are releasing an album, everyone's like, "What? I wonder what lyrics Taylor's going to write. I wonder what vocals Ariana's going to have." I think
so they are very different, but again, I think Ariana does have the upper hand with the vocals because she can just do a lot more than Taylor can. Because Taylor's not proven to us anything. Like she hasn't proven that she can hit whistle notes live, for starters, without auto-tune. Whereas Ariana has multiple times across the 10 years of her career. She has managed to do that so many times, which again just makes me think, what is Taylor?
She's a singer-songwriter. That's what she is. I think one performance that one live performance that like very much does actually display that Taylor can sing was she did a tour it was meant to be more of a tour, but then COVID happened. So she had this one live performance in Paris of the release of Lover, and it was like a pre-thing to the tour that she was meant to do and never happened. R.I.P. Loverfest. I would have loved you. So she did a live acoustic performance of a song from Lover called Cornelia Street, and actual chills. And to be able to, like, she was playing guitar herself. It was only her. There was no other band. It was just her on the stage with her guitar. And the notes that she manages to hit in that song while still playing guitar, so while occupied, I find that really, like, wild that people can do that, by the way. Like, sing and play guitar at the same time. How?
I think that is impressive, but you've also got to include, again, I'm bringing up Wicked, because she sung it live and she had to dance at the same time.
But I think that is pretty much like part of like a tour. You singing and dancing.
She can sing and dance at the same time and still hold the vocal range and have the vocal control and not sound out of breath. And I'm pretty sure Taylor can do that too. But the fact that with Wicked, she also had to act on top of it.
I guess it's just like part of the songs are part of her lines as well, which I think probably makes that a little bit easier.
No,
you know what I mean.
I'd like to see you try, Maddie. I'd like to see you try.
I do great. I'm not the one claiming to be a singer. I don't even know why I said claiming there. I'm not the trained singer.
Yeah, none of them have claimed to be a singer. They are singers.
Funnily enough. But no, that live performance of Cornelia Street, it's just genuinely, I wish I could have been there. The notes that she manages to hit while still playing this guitar and singing normally as well. I think it's just, and it was like a whole acoustic set. It wasn't like she just said, right, I'm going to go sing this song. She did like multiple songs on guitar in a row, singing, and the vocals that she served on that have never been matched in a performance of Cornelia Street since.
Wow, good to know. Now there's one more live performance that I want to talk about, and it is God Is a Woman at the Sweeten the World tour, when she hits the whistle note at the end. Now, the studio recording isn't actually a whistle note. Well, it kind of is, but it's not like the kind of whistle note that she did on tour. It's more of a high belt kind of thing. Whereas on tour, she actually, like, pretty much every single time hit a whistle note, and she did it in, like, different ways. So she had, like, different falsettos and vibrattos, like, every single time she did it. I don't know what I'm talking about. I could have gotten them wrong, but, like, she hit them, like, and she got higher in some, lower in some, but she still hit the whistle note, which I think is insane, because when you think of whistle notes, you can only think of like one, and the fact that she comes up with different variations of whistle notes just for this one song, and it's only like 5 seconds long, kind of proves that she has the creativity to understand how vocals work and make it more special to what it usually is. And make it a surprise to fans as well. And I just think it's insane, because you don't really see many like other artists doing that kind of range of different, like, same note but different ways of doing it. I don't even think Mariah Carey has done that before. I might be wrong, I'm not sure, but I don't think she has, because her whistle notes just seem to stay the same every time she performs live to the studio ones, whereas Ariana's are completely different every time, and so are her riffs. And like, she adds riffs in, she doesn't, like, she kind of goes away from the studio recording and makes it sound so much better live, and adds more creativity into it as well, and so much more. And yeah, I just think, what can't this woman do?
Well, speaking of creativity and switching it up, on the rep tour in 2018, I want to say. Don't hold me to that. It could be 2017, but I think it is 2018. She did in Toronto. Every show that she has done in the Rep World tour and the Eras tour, she did like a little surprise song. So you got 2 in the Eras tour, but you got one in the Rep tour, because obviously when Eras came out, she'd released like 4 albums and hadn't toured.
Yeah.
So a lot more songs to do. But in the Rep tour, she did an acoustic performance of Out of the Woods. And she, obviously, you probably heard Out of the Woods.
Yes.
It's very much like the same kind of tone throughout, but she managed to add some riffs in and stuff that were like belts and weren't added in at any other point. And I think everyone who was there was shocked that she was singing like that, because it's not the typical Taylor that you hear.
Yeah.
I think to be able to just pull that out of your bag and be like, here, you can have this now. I can do this. I think
Yeah.
I find it really,
I think
impressive.
I think Taylor.
I think she knows when to do it.
And I think that's similar with, like, I think Taylor and Ariana are similar in like the creativity ways, like live. Like, you've just basically said what I've said, but with what Taylor did. So the fact that they can both do that shows that they are both good. But I do think Ariana is better.
I do think she's probably a stronger vocalist, but I do think there are obviously elements that Taylor's better in, just general.
Okay. Right, we need to wrap this up. So we need to...
I will hold my hands up and say that Ariana is probably the stronger vocalist. However,
how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna decide? Because like yesterday, we decided on the top 3 songs out of the 6.
I think it's just going to be harder though, because then we're just doing the same thing again.
That's what I mean. So, like,
I mean, I've accepted defeat on this one. Are we done?
Good.
I don't think it's discrediting Taylor as an artist, so I do feel.
No,
I feel like
definitely not.
Clear before you get attacked by all the Swifties.
I know. How are we actually going to end this though? Like, how are we going to decide? Should we just say, like, how? Should we just say
Ariana is the stronger vocalist? There you go.
Way.
It's the only thing you win though, so I've got to give you it somewhere.
Right.
We'll just wrap it up.
Yeah. So overall, Ariana is the stronger vocalist, and she does win this round.
Thank you for watching this episode of Mic Drop. Amelie, thank you for this thrilling discussion, even if I'm not very happy about the result.
I wasn't happy last episode. It's okay.
Right, yeah, thank you for watching. Yeah.
Bye.